We're riding around this little country town. We were going nuts, girl, out in the street. One night you with my big mouth. Couple guys had to put me in my place. When I see those guys these days, we just laugh and say, "Big well, well." That's when sport was sport. Grooving was grooving. Dancing with everything. We were young and we were improving. Laughing, laughing with our friends. Holding hands, did something, baby. Outside the club, cherry bar. Our hearts were really open. Say yeah, yeah, yeah. Say yeah, yeah, yeah.
Lonesome like a man when you call each day. Things you say make me feel like living again. Oh me, what a lonesome life it's been. Tonight when I hold you, will be for the last time. Is it love or pastime? Feel back to your sweet daddy. I wanna make you mine.
Got a few kids of my own. Some days I still don't know what to do. I hope that they're not laughing too loud when they hear me talking like this to you. That's when I spoke was spoke.
Please be seated. Before we get to the really exciting reason we're here, just one little piece of business. If you have a cell phone here, will you raise your hand? Okay. I want you to repeat after me. Kidding. I swear that my phone will not make any noise during the service. Now, please place them in the most worshipful position, which is probably off, but at least silent mode. And we know, yes, sorry, you stop repeating, yes. We know you will want to sneak a few pics of the bride and groom during the service, but please be very mindful of the impact on those around you. With that said, on behalf of Maia, and John, and Izzy, I would like to welcome you to this special moment. This time outside of time, where we stop looking at our phones, stop thinking about work or obligations, and just focus for a moment on these two beautiful people that stand before us. I would also like to welcome in spirit John's mom, Charlene, who passed away this last year, and to welcome all the grandparents that couldn't travel here, and of course to Grandma Vici, who could. Maia and John have requested that we begin their wedding ceremony with a moment of silence. The moment of silence is a time for reflection, prayer, meditation, centering. It's a time that Quakers use to hear the still small voice, or the Word of God, which they believe lives within each of us. John and Maia hope that you will use this time in whatever manner feels most comfortable for you. Blessed be. I doubt very much that I would have to convince anyone here that the unifying theme of Maia and John's life is playing games. Far beyond the obvious video game vocation that has been such an enormous aspect of John's career, both he and Maia live life this way. Life is a game for these two in the best possible way of meaning it. It's fun. You have to roll the dice and take your cards and play your hand as best you can. And of course, in the most literal sense, they both love to play games all the time. Whether it is a late-night Cards Against Humanity session, a basketball shooting contest in the pool, or a friendly wager about how long John can last with his latest diet endurance challenge. Take the under on that one. These two just love to play. And so not only will this message explore the importance of this theme to their life together, but we're going to take this to the next level. Because this message is actually a game in and of itself of Mad Libs. And every single one of you is invited to play along. So just like the Mad Lib game you may have played as a child or with your child, I'm going to ask you for a series of words, phrases, nouns, things about these two, and it's essential that you yell out, compete with the other voices in your midst, and otherwise attempt to have your word or phrase be the one used in the actual message. That is, for this to work, you are all going to need to play along. But first, as you let that sink in, I would like to invite Stefan, John's brother, to this microphone for our opening reading.
Ultimately, there comes a decision. I'm sorry, I'm a little flustered. I'm not just reading out loud. There's a lot of people. Ultimately, there comes a time when a decision must be made. Ultimately, two people who love each other must ask themselves how much they hope for as their love grows and deepens, and how much risk they are willing to take. It is indeed a fearful gamble. Because the nature of love, to create a marriage itself, is something which has to be created. To marry is the biggest risk in human relations that a person can take. If we commit ourselves to one person for life, this is not, as many people think, a rejection of freedom. Rather, it demands the courage to move into all the risks of freedom and the risk of love, which is permanent. Into that love, which is not possession, but participation. It takes a lifetime to learn another person. When that love is not possession, but participation, then it is part of that co-creation, which is our human calling.
That was an excerpt from Madeleine L'Engel's The Irrational Season. Thank you. Who's ready to play a game? Who's ready to play a game? So the first thing I need you to yell at me is a term Maya or John would use to describe an amount that is not a number. For example, a truckload. Something that is an amount, but is not a number.
Shit ton.
Shit ton it is. All right, away we go. 2. A word that John or Maya may use to describe a disaster. For example, calamity. We're all going to get swear words here? Come on, let's do it, John. Whoa.
A terrible mistake.
Terrible mistake. The last time we hear that word, well, I'll have to say it again. All right. A famous paradox. Famous paradox. It might be funny if you just start yelling it out now. Any more? Far plane for Minnesota. There will be tacos later, I believe. This should be easy. A name of a game that Maya is good at.
Super Mario Basketball.
So we got a vote for Bolick too, but you feel better about Super Mario Brothers? Super Mario Brothers, okay. And what about John? Maybe a game he's playing currently, something he maybe, he dominated you in recently?
Shining Force.
Drop 7. You still, So, I'm guessing they're not the only two people who have played some games. What are some things you've learned from playing games over the years? Some lessons that those game playing... Cheating. Yep. We need another one, so keep yelling.
Second place is the first loser.
You can never really win. It's a little too on point, but all right.
If you can't get it up, pull on it.
Should have known what I was getting into with this crowd. Yeah. All right. So the final two things I need is a person who's willing to tell a short story. And when I say short, I mean I'll give you the hook after about 30 seconds. A short story about Maya or John dominating you in a game.
It's never happened.
Never happened. I've seen, just in the last week, them both whoop some people. So I need a little story about some time John, and a little story about when Maya dominated you in a sport. And if you're being silent now, it's just because you're trying to hold one over on them. I know they've beaten you and stuff. So, anyone got a story back here?
Yes.
All right, I want you to come forward then. So Ace is going to, and I assume you're telling the John story, Ace?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. I don't need you to tell it yet, but I just want you to hang out by this microphone. Okay? So we need someone to tell a Maia story too, and as her brother, I know how she gets, so there's got to be some stories out there. Yeah, Claire, you ready? All right. All right. I think we've got what we need. So away we go. As I am certain you already know, Maia and John met on a blind date, and not just any blind date, but one to a multi-day wedding, which is basically a personal version of the dating game. Unlike most of us who like to know a shit ton of things about the person we're going on a date with before we commit, and not to mention to have a clear and obvious exit strategy if things become a terrible mistake. Not these two. They committed to multiple days together without so much as a text message. They simply rolled the dice, trusted their friends, and played the game. But here's the thing. As much as both John and Maia clearly love to play games, there's one place the game playing must end, and does with them, and that is their actual relationship. Many people say that love is a game, but as I think they know well, it's one that if you play, you're going to lose. Much as it's true with the famous paradox that Favre should never play for the Minneapolis Vikings. It is also true with the paradox of love. You can learn much about love from playing games, but to finally enter fully into love, the games must stop. Games are a lot of fun. They let us escape to fantasy worlds, to exert aspects of our personalities we don't get to use elsewhere, and they allow us to win. We love that. All of these feelings are wonderful in the right context, but love is not a place where they will serve you well. And of course, there is so much we learn about how to be in a mutually beneficial relationship with someone else from playing games. When Maia dominates another game of Super Mario Brothers, or John gets to a new level on Drop 7, they learn, for example, how to cheat and get away with it. Your words, not mine. And that you can never really win. These are real and important life lessons, so you say. But while fantasy may indeed have its place in some aspects of marriage, the love part is not one of them. While it's exciting to try on different characters in our favorite video games, it's devastating to love. Love needs a firm foundation. It needs truth and trust in order to grow into vulnerability. And I've observed in my time with John and Maia that they are very real with each other. They don't pull punches or shy away from hard conversations or hard truths, and this will serve them very well. Likewise, both Maia and John are hyper-competitive. For example, there was the time...
So John and I were playing air hockey, and I actually had the advantage in this match. I was doing very well, but what I didn't bet on is John was going to go to whatever lengths it took to win. So he actually, as we were playing, he was losing. He stripped naked, and I had to play with my hand over my face so as to avoid seeing anything I didn't want to see, and that gave him the edge to dominate me.
And then, of course, there was the time that...
Maia was playing bocce ball, and my 6'4" husband, who maybe didn't know Maia quite as well as some of us, was very surprised and taken aback when skinny little Maia was jumping up in his face and telling him he was going down.
And for Claire, please. You may return to your seat. Thank you so much for playing along. So, clearly, as we know, both John and Maia have this streak within them. To be the best, to win. And in many places, this has served them well. But love is not one of them. With love, as I said earlier, if you win, you lose. Both John and Maia know this, and will continue to learn this truth at deeper and deeper levels as the years go by. When I asked John, late into the final night of his bachelor party, between rounds of shuffleboard, you knew this was coming, didn't you? Pool, frisbee golf, bocce, and archery tag, what the ultimate lesson was that he had learned from playing a lifetime of games, he replied without missing a beat, You've got to sacrifice shit to do shit. Now, it might not be poetry, but if that isn't the ultimate truth about love and marriage, I don't know what is. You have to sacrifice shit to do shit. In order for love to flourish, one must go beyond their individual wants, to give up things that are important to them for the greater good of the relationship. So, it's obvious to me that these two are ready to step into the two-player action that is marriage. They will have much joy ahead of them, but tears and challenges too. But between the skills they have honed through their lifetime of playing, and of course, the love and support of everyone gathered here, I have no doubt they are heading for an epic win. So here we are, Maia and John, at the threshold of the next level, an exciting new challenge that the two of you will navigate together. Are you ready to play this game? All right, let's do this. Not yet. So both Maia and John have written short preambles to their vows, and Maia will first read hers.
When we first met, you wore a Speedo to go swimming. And I told you I wanted children soon. And neither of us ran. In fact, we spent the next 10 days together, and every weekend after until I moved to Seattle. Falling in love was the easy part, but learning if we were good partners for each other can be tricky. It's because of our wonderful communication that we're standing here today, ready to commit. We have almost a year of parenting together, and again, our ability to communicate has proven a huge strength. Just looking at you makes me smile. I love who you are. I love seeing you as a father.
John, would you like to speak your words?
I love you, Maia. You know, when you entered my life, you made it so much better. And it was not just me going from a single dude to a boyfriend, or from a boyfriend to a partner, or a partner to a fiancé. But it was that together we quickly formed a family. And we made that family stronger with how we combined ourselves with our friends. And we made it even stronger with how we combined ourselves with our family. And of course, we made it magical then by having Izzy. I'm so lucky because the person that I am as part of that family is the best possible person that I could be. I could not be more happy to be here today, getting married to you, in front of our loved ones. You're the mother of my daughter, my life partner. And the best words I can come up with are not just I love you, but thank you.
Please repeat these words after me. I, Maia, choose you, John,
I, Maya, choose you, John,
in the presence of this community,
in the presence of this community,
to be my husband from this time forward,
to be my husband, and forward,
to love you,
to love you,
to be a comfort and safe haven in your life,
to be a comfort and safe haven in your life,
to hold you close,
to hold you close,
to listen deeply when you are sad or angry,
to listen deeply when you're sad and angry,
to learn compassion with you,
to learn compassion with you,
to nourish you with my gentleness,
to nourish you with my gentleness,
to uphold you with my strength,
to uphold you with my strength,
to love your body as it ages,
to love your body as it ages,
to weigh the effects of the words I speak,
to weigh the effects of the words I speak,
and of the things I do,
and of the things I do,
to never take you for granted,
to try to never take you
but always give thanks for your presence.
to always give thanks to you.
John, please repeat these words after me. I, John, choose you, Maia,
I, John, choose you, Maia,
in the presence of this community,
in the presence of this community,
to be my wife from this time forward,
to be my wife, this time forward,
to love you,
to love you,
to be a comfort
be a comfort,
and safe haven in your life,
and safe haven in your life,
to hold you close,
to hold you close,
and hold him to that, to listen deeply when you are sad or angry,
to listen deeply when you are sad or angry,
to learn compassion with you,
to learn compassion with you,
to nourish you with my gentleness,
to nourish you with my gentleness,
to uphold you with my strength,
to uphold you with my strength,
to love your body as it ages,
to love your body as it ages,
to weigh the effects of the words I speak,
to weigh the effects of the words I speak,
and of the things I do,
and of the things I do,
to never take you for granted,
to never take you for granted,
but always give thanks for your presence.
and always give thanks for your presence.
Please turn and receive the rings from your bearers. You get the ring. Traditionally, the marking of the passage to the status of husband and wife is marked by the exchange of rings. These rings are a symbol of the unbroken circle of love. Love freely given has no beginning and no end, no giver and no receiver, for each is the giver and each is the receiver. May these rings always remind you of the vows you have taken today. John, please place a ring upon Maia's finger and repeat after me. As I give you this ring to wear,
As I give you this ring to wear,
so I give you my heart to keep.
so I give you my heart to keep.
Maia, as you place a ring on John's finger, please repeat after me. As I give you this ring to wear,
As I give you this ring to wear,
so I give you my heart to keep.
so I give you my heart to keep.
Many ceremonies of marriage include a unity moment, when the couple combines previously separated elements like sand or water into one vessel, symbolizing the joining of their lives. When Maia and John began to consider what they would like to pour together, they realized that they had already, in the most literal way, poured themselves together and created their incredible and beautiful daughter, Isabel, which led them to this unity moment concept. Please enjoy. You'll remember a few parts of this wedding, I'm guessing. Although we are able to gather here today to celebrate this beautiful joining of lives, in acknowledgement that so many who love each other are still denied this right in our country and across the globe, our final reading is an excerpt from the 2003 Massachusetts Supreme Court ruling that legalized same-sex marriage in that state. I'd like to welcome Nicole Lamarche to make that reading.
Without question, civil marriage enhances the welfare of the community. It is a social institution of the highest importance. Civil marriage anchors an ordered society by encouraging stable relationships over transient ones. Marriage also bestows enormous private and social advantages on those who choose to marry. Civil marriage is at once a deeply personal commitment to another human being and a highly public celebration of the ideals of mutuality, companionship, intimacy, fidelity, and family. It is an association that promises a way of life, not causes, a harmony in living, not political faiths, a bilateral loyalty, not commercial or social projects. Because it fulfills yearnings for security, safe haven, and connection that express our common humanity, civil marriage is an esteemed institution, and the decision whether and whom to marry is among life's momentous acts of self-definition. Tangible as well as intangible benefits flow from marriage. The benefits accessible only by way of a marriage license are enormous, touching nearly every aspect of life and death. It is undoubtedly for these concrete reasons as well for its intimately personal significance, that civil marriage has long been termed a civil right.
Thank you. I'd like to offer a final blessing to you. Now you will feel no rain, for each of you will be shelter for the other. Now you will feel no cold, for each of you will be warmth for the other. Now there will be no loneliness, for each of you will be companion to the other. Now you are two persons, but there is only one life before you. May beauty surround you both in the journey ahead and through all the years. May happiness be your companion, and your days together be good and long upon the earth. By the power vested in me by the great state of Washington, and more importantly, by the power of your love, I now pronounce you husband and wife. Family, it is my great honor and privilege to present to you the people who can't wait to kiss each other, Mr. and Mrs. John and Maia Vici.
Just a little bit longer. Please, 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 tell me you're going to.
Some of you know this and some of you don't. Heather Hazen and I, Heather Hazen's Parton right here, who John was talking about before, we grew up together in the same town of North Carolina, Lenoir, North Carolina. And we're best friends in high school, inseparable friends in high school. And then Heather moves to Seattle to work for John. So the way that I'm trying to get to how John and Maia met, I had met John once before. I don't even know if John remembers this, but Heather had set up a lunch. I work in advertising, so Heather had set up a lunch for me to try to do business with PopCap. So I had Heather there and a bunch of other PopCappers, including John, and it was we had a very fun lunch. It was interesting because John, he was coming down from a paleo diet, and so he'd gone to vegan within the same lunch. And the rest of us were drinking, and he had given up drinking like 20 minutes in. So I got to learn a lot about how he was going to be for the rest of his life. So again, like they had said before, John told Heather years later, I'm going to go to this wedding. It's going to be this incredible wedding, but I definitely am going to need a date. So luckily for me and for Maia, Heather had been coming to San Francisco to visit me for years and years and years, so she'd gotten a chance to meet Maia several times too. So when John asked for said date, I think Heather showed him a few other options, pulled up her Facebook page, showed him a couple people, but Maia was definitely at the top of the list. But convincing John to do something was a lot easier than convincing Maia to do something. So I said, you know, yeah, Maia, I know this guy. I met him at lunch. I spent a whole hour with him. He's so nice. He's so fun. He likes vegan stuff. He likes meat. He's crazy. He likes to drink. Sometimes he doesn't like to drink. You're going to love this guy. He's all over the place. But for some reason, she was still skittish. I don't know why. Maybe it was an entire weekend away with a complete stranger, and I don't know. There were a couple of reasons why she was a little scared to make this trip with him. But we finally convinced her. I was like, you know what? You're gonna have to man up. You're gonna have to make this happen. I tried to tell her that if I was in the same position, I would definitely go, but I definitely would not have gone. There's no way I would have gone. Like, I would have been so scared. But I kept telling her, like, get this done. You can do it. Go out there. So I slapped her on her ass. We got her a new dress, and we sent her to Monterey. She had some excuses, though. She was like, oh, insurance is expired. I don't think I'm going to be able to go. I'm afraid to drive. I can't do it, my insurance. I'm going to get busted. And then she was like, oh, my car's too rickety. I don't think my car's going to make it, so I gave her the keys to my car. I mean, like, there were 1,000 reasons not to go, but she finally did make it happen. And, again, thank you. I'm so glad that we convinced you to make this happen, because then we're going to spend a whole weekend together with you guys.
I really don't want to follow that first of all. I've been hearing about Jody all this time, and I could probably limit my stories about John to just what's happened today. I'm not kidding. But I also, Jody said that Maya and John will annoy each other. Nobody will ever see their mission in life to annoy anybody more than John has fought to annoy me. The thing I did is I was thinking back today. In fact, we were having a little toast earlier this afternoon, and I realized that Maya and John have been together for nearly half the time I've known him. And it's weird because Maya was, there was a whole series of crazies, let me tell you. And Maya knows this, so it's like there's no news here, but I look back at these 9+ years, and clearly the sanest 4 years are these last 4 years when Maya was in the picture. This is no coincidence.
Our next toast tonight will be given by Ian Beachy.
Before I knew John, I lived in Indiana. Until I reached middle school. I always knew him as Brother John. I think Josie, Dad, and my mom, we all called him Brother John. I never really knew who he was. And 8 years later, I moved to Seattle. And I learned so much more about John that I really did not even know. He's clumsy. He's very nerdy. In a cool way, though. He's a cool man. He's very whiny, too. I grew up with Josie, my sister, and she's pretty whiny as well, but I did not know about John's whininess. And although he does have some bad qualities, he's got some good ones as well. He's very generous, caring, and he loves to have fun. John is also very lucky, if you know John. I mean, how many of you have ever found a nickel that was more valuable than mine?
Everybody's talking about that first night, right? Well, I just want to go on the record as saying I was against it. Bad. You're driving where? To go on a date with who? Who's this John guy think he is? I was like, he better be getting 2 rooms. She is not sharing a room with this guy. I don't know who he thinks he is. I was against it. So, 2 rooms, yeah.
We used one.
No, that was the whole thing. After I finally was able to get back in touch with Maya after she went on a week-long extravaganza date, I said, were there 2 rooms? And she said, yes. We didn't use them. So, obviously, as everybody has stated, it has just from the very get-go been an awesome, awesome matchup. And we're all probably pretty aware of the world of Facebook now, and I hope you guys know this photograph that I'm talking about. But even after they had hung out for a week and everything was rosy and everything, I still kind of thought, I don't know, this is going pretty quickly. I don't know if I can get behind it. And all of a sudden I saw this photograph on Facebook, and John's in hot pink Daisy Dukes, and a pink headband on, and he's playing ping pong. I thought, you know what, this could actually work. And that's, I don't know, it's a good way of thinking about their relationship. I mean, they are the 2 goofiest people I've ever met in my life. They have so much love to give everybody. Maya, you are just have always been the sweetest girl, and I can't believe that you were able to find somebody that's so perfect for your kids.
And this was about the time where John had a bunch of theories about dating. He had a lot of theories. He had this thing he called the list. He had a list of qualities that he decided he was going to, that he needed as a minimum in any woman he was going to settle down with. And I don't actually remember the entire list because it was fucking long. It was like pages and pages. But I remember, you know, it started with something like, she must be spiritual yet hot. And then it kind of went on. It was like, you know, and a vegan who also likes meat. And things like that. It's just kind of, and then page after page of this stuff. And so we had some discussions with John. I was like, do you feel this is realistic? And he was like, yeah, you know, I'm not going to just settle. And I remember, and then there was one point where I was talking to John, and he said he was having some troubles with his girlfriend at the moment, who I will call, for sake of argument, Bicycle. And I said, so what's the problem? And he said, well, you know, it's like, let me tell you a metaphor. The metaphor is, you know, I'm standing at a bus stop, and I know that sooner or later a bus will arrive that will take me to the destination I want to go to. But in the meantime, if there's like a bike that's like, you know, lying next to the corner there somewhere, I might take the bike and ride around the block or something like that. And I said, okay, I can sort of see what you're getting at there. So tell me, so what was the problem that happened with your current girlfriend at the time about this? He said, well, I told her this. And she got really upset. Well, yes, eventually she wanted clarification. I was like, and she was the bike. And that didn't work very well. And so, yeah, so then, you know, that went on like that for a while. And then, indeed, later on, you know, we finally, I did meet Maia, as everyone has mentioned, this infamous first date. Ironically enough, on a bus. She was on the bus heading to the wedding there, and I remember we saw this girl there, and it was like we're talking to her, and at some point it became clear that she was John's mystery date that had never met him before, was going to meet this guy she never met. And weirdly, I did not put her in those two camps. I was thinking, is this someone I should warn about John, or that John needs to be warned about? And I didn't actually think of either of those, because my thought was, she seems pretty level-headed, doesn't seem like a crazy, psychopathic, whatever. Yeah, so I don't need to warn John. But I also didn't feel that she needed to be warned about John, because she also seemed smart enough that I just couldn't imagine her putting up with him for more than like an hour. Let alone 3 days, let alone 5 years, and whatever else. So, yeah, so as it turned out, then we kept seeing her, and eventually I asked her name, you know, and so now here we are. And so I guess in closing, I guess what I'm saying, Maia, is be the bus. I think you are the bus that is going to take John to his destination, which I guess is death. Maybe there's a better way to phrase that. Happy journeys. Thank you.
There we go. You can enter circle hall.